Okay, so I don't know about you, but sometimes I just get this like itch to make something, you know,
Totally. I get that.
something useful.
Hmm?
But that doesn't take weeks and weeks to finish.
Yeah, right. Quick projects are the best sometimes.
Exactly. And if that project also happens to protect my coffee table.
Oh, even better. Form and function.
Okay, so that's what we're diving into today.
Huh.
10 quick and easy crochet coaster patterns. And they're all from a recent blog post on Paperflow Designs.
Nice. I love their stuff.
Me too. And the cool thing about these patterns is that there's something for everyone.
Oh, really? So like different skill levels.
Yeah, beginners, more experienced crochets, you name it.
Sounds great. I'm always looking for new patterns to try. And speaking of new ideas,
Yeah.
if anyone out there is looking for more inspiration, by the way, you can sign up for the Crafting Made Simple newsletter.
Yes. Good reminder.
We share all sorts of fun project ideas over there. Plus, we've got you covered for supplies, too. You can find a list of what you need for these coaster patterns in the podcast notes.
Easy peasy.
Or you can hop on over to the Paperflow Designs blog itself. That's paperflowdesigns.com.
Perfect. Okay, so let's jump right in. The first pattern is the floral motif crochet coaster.
Okay, a floral motif.
Yeah. And when I think floral crochet, I usually think like kind of complicated. But this one seems surprisingly doable.
Oh, for sure. And it's a great example of how you can create like these organic shapes just with simple stitches.
Okay, so how does it work?
Well, it starts with a magic ring.
Ah, yes, the magic ring.
Exactly. It's like the best way to start a project in the round.
Because you don't end up with that hole in the middle.
Right, like you would with a regular chain and slip stitch circle.
Gotcha. So magic ring, and then what?
Then you do a couple rounds of double crochet just to kind of build up the base. But the real fun starts in the third round.
Ooh, what happens in the third round?
That's when you create these chain 4 loops.
Da-da-da.
Yeah, like little loops of chain stitches.
Yeah.
And they basically act as the base for the petals.
Oh, I see. So you're not creating solid fabric there.
Nope. You're creating little spaces, and then in the final round, you go back into those loops and make a whole bunch of stitches.
A bunch of stitches
Yeah.
in one loop.
Uh-huh. Single crochet, half double crochet, and a few double crochets.
Wow.
It's kind of like sculpting the petals with yarn.
So cool.
Yeah, and you can use whatever colors you want, like maybe a contrast for the petals in the center.
That'd be cute.
Totally. You'll need some cotton yarn, a 4.0 millimeter hook, and your usual tools like scissors and a yarn needle.
All right. Got it. So that's the floral motif crochet coaster. Now let's move on to something a little more geometric.
You mean the granny square coaster?
Yes, the granny square. It's such a classic crochet pattern.
It really is.
It's so versatile. You could use up all those little bits of yarn.
Ah, the never-ending yarn stash. We all have one.
It's true. And there's just something so cozy and charming about a granny square, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's the nostalgia factor. Like, it reminds me of blankets my grandma used to make.
Me too. But, okay, back to the pattern itself.
Right. So the basic structure of a granny square is built around these clusters of 3 double crochet stitches. And they're separated by chain spaces.
Okay.
And these clusters usually form the corners.
The corners of the square.
Yep. So in this particular pattern, you start with a magic ring again.
Okay.
And right away in the first round, you create those 4 corner spaces.
So you're setting the foundation for the square.
Exactly. And then each round just builds on that foundation. You add more of those 3 double crochet clusters into the spaces from the previous round.
Right. And you keep those chain 2 spaces at the corners.
Yes, to keep that square shape. Oh, and the blog post also mentions an optional single crochet border.
I was just going to say, a border always gives it such a nice finished look.
Totally agree.
So for this one, you'll need your colorful cotton yarn and a 4.0 millimeter hook.
That's it. It's a great pattern for practicing those basic stitches like double crochet and chains.
And because you can change colors so easily.
Yeah, you can make each coaster totally unique.
All right, let's move on to the simple round crochet coaster. This one sounds perfect for beginners.
Oh yeah, this one is all about the basics. The blog post calls it fun and easy for beginners.
I love that. Sometimes the simplest designs are the best.
Oh, so true. And this one is a great way to learn how to crochet in the round.
And how to make a flat circle.
Yes, that's the key. Nobody wants a wonky coaster.
No way. So how do you make sure it stays flat?
It's all about the increases. So you start with a magic ring, again,
Of course.
and then you make 12 double crochets into that ring.
Yeah.
And then the next few rounds, you're going to be placing 2 double crochets in certain stitches.
2 in 1 stitch.
Yep, that's the increase. And you have to space them out correctly so that the circle expands evenly.
So it doesn't get all wavy or like cone shaped.
Right. The blog post actually gives you 2 options. Either put 2 double crochets in every stitch,
Okay.
or alternate between 1 and 2. And then to finish it off, you do a round of single crochet. Just gives a nice, neat edge.
Love it. And of course, you'll need your worsted weight cotton yarn and a 4.0 millimeter hook.
Exactly. Simple as that.
So we've had a flower, we've had a square. How about a hexagon?
Ah, yes. The hexagon crochet coaster.
These just look so cool. And the blog post suggests mixing and matching colors, which I love.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea, especially since hexagons have those 6 sides.
Right. More opportunities for color
That's
changes.
right.
But okay, tell me about the pattern.
Well, it starts with, you guessed it, a magic ring,
Makes sense.
and then 12 double crochets in that first round.
Okay.
But then in the next rounds, that's where it gets a little different.
How so?
Remember how we talked about those corner clusters in the granny square? Well, it's kind of similar here.
You mean you create corners in the hexagon?
Yeah. But instead of 3 double crochets, you make these little clusters of 2 double crochets, a chain 1 space, and then 2 more double crochets.
And those all go in the same stitch.
Exactly. And that chain 1 space is super important
Why?
because it defines the corner and it gives the next round some space to build on.
I see.
And then between those corner clusters, you just do single double crochets to connect the sides.
Got it. So it's a little more complex than the circle, but not too much?
Nope. It's a good stepping stone.
Okay. On to the next one. The chevron striped crochet coaster. This one sounds really fun.
Oh, yeah, this one's got some great visual interest.
Right. All those zigzag stripes. The blog post calls it a playful design.
It is. And you get that pop of color by using 2 contrasting yarns.
Okay. So how does the chevron pattern actually work?
Well, this one is a little different because it's worked in rows instead of rounds.
Oh, interesting. So the fabric is constructed differently.
Exactly. And to get that chevron effect, you have to use some decreased stitches.
Decrease stitches.
Yeah, like double crochet 2 together.
What does that mean?
It means you're basically taking 2 stitches and crocheting them together as 1. And there's also double crochet 3 together where you crochet 3 stitches together.
Okay. And those decreases create that downward point in the zigzag.
Exactly. And then you'll also have some increases to create the upward points.
Right. So it's a combination of decreases and increases.
And the pattern has you alternating between those 2 contrasting yarn colors every 6 rows.
Which really emphasizes the stripes.
Totally. And then, of course, you finish it off with a single crochet border.
Because every coaster needs a nice clean edge.
Right. All right, what do you say we bring in a little bit of nature?
Ooh, I like where this is going.
The next pattern is the leaf-shaped crochet coaster.
How cute.
Right. It's perfect for adding a touch of nature to your coffee table.
I love that idea.
And it's a really easy pattern, good for any skill level. Plus, it's quick to make, so you could whip up a whole bunch.
Ooh. Imagine a set of these in different shades of green.
That would be so pretty.
Okay, but how do you actually crochet a leaf?
Well, you start with the foundation chain. That's how you usually start projects that aren't in the round.
Okay.
And then you basically work along both sides of that chain using a mix of different stitches. Single crochet, half double crochet, and even treble crochet.
Wow, so many stitches.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And by changing up the height of the stitches, you create the curves and points of the leaf.
Oh, I see. So it's all about that variation in stitch height.
Exactly. And there's this really clever technique they use to make the leaf look even more realistic.
Oh, what's that?
It's called a surface slip stitch.
What's a surface slip stitch?
It's where you basically work a slip stitch on top of the existing stitches, almost like you're drawing a line with the yarn.
Oh, cool. And that creates...
The vein down the center of the leaf.
That's such a good idea. So simple, but so effective.
Right. And then, of course, you finish it off with a single crochet edging.
To give it that polished look.
Yep. All right, ready for a pattern that's all about texture?
Bring it on.
The textured shell stitch coaster.
Textured shell stitch. Sounds intriguing.
It's a really beautiful stitch. Creates these like waves in an intricate pattern.
Oh, wow. I'm picturing a scalloped edge.
You got it.
Okay, so what exactly is a shell stitch?
So basically you work a bunch of double crochets all into the same stitch in the row below.
A bunch. How many?
Usually 5. And those clusters of stitches naturally fan out.
Oh, I see. And that's what creates the wave.
Yep. And you usually separate the shells with a different stitch or a space in the previous round.
Oh,
Just to give it some definition and create the overall pattern.
got it. And this one also has a special edging rat.
It does. A picot edging.
I love picots. They're so dainty.
All right. So cute. And they add a nice little detail to the edge of the coaster.
So for this pattern, you'll need your cotton yarn and your 4.0 millimeter hook.
Yep. And it's a good one for practicing the shell stitch and getting comfortable with creating that wavy edge.
Okay. So we've had texture, we've had nature. What about color?
Yes. Color. This next pattern is the ombre color block coaster.
Ombre yarn is just so pretty. I love how the color gradually changes,
Me too. And it's such an easy way to add a pop of color to your projects.
especially since ombre yarns come in so many different color combinations.
Right. You can find one to match any decor.
And the cool thing is that the yarn does all the work. You don't need complicated stitches to get that color blocking effect.
Exactly. The crochet itself is pretty simple for this one. Probably just a basic increasing circle like the simple round coaster we talked about earlier.
Oh, okay.
So you just keep crocheting in rounds and let the yarn do its thing. The color changes will happen naturally.
Amazing.
And then you probably finish it off with a round of single crochet in that last color, just to give it a nice, clean edge.
Perfect. So for this one, you'll need your ombre yarn and a 4.0 millimeter hook.
That's it. It's a great project for when you want something quick and visually impactful, but don't want to fuss with a lot of fancy stitches.
Love it. Okay, we're on the home stretch now. 2 patterns left.
Okay, let's talk about the textured puff stitch coaster.
Ooh, puff stitches.
Yeah, they're so cozy and they add such great texture.
They really do?
Plus, because of the raised surface, they're super good at preventing cup rings.
Oh, that's a good point. So how does this one work?
Well, you start with a round of double crochets to make a base,
Okay.
and then the next round is all about those puff stitches.
And how are they spaced?
You usually put a chain, one space between each puff stitch.
That makes sense. Gives them room to breathe.
Exactly. And it keeps the fabric from getting too dense.
Got it.
Now, for anyone who's not familiar with puff stitches,
Yeah, how do you make one?
it's a little tricky to explain, but basically you wrap the yarn around your hook a few times. Then you insert the hook into the stitch and pull up some loops. And then you yarn over and pull through all those loops at once.
Wow. Sounds complicated.
It's easier than it sounds, and it creates this really nice pillowy stitch.
So cool. And then what?
Then you usually do a round of single crochet to kind of secure those puffs and give them some definition. And then the finishing touch is a reverse single crochet border, sometimes called a crab stitch.
What's a crab stitch?
It's where you basically single crochet backwards, creates a really neat twisted edge.
Oh, fun. So for this one, you'll need your cotton yarn and a 4.0 millimeter hook.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last but not least, the spiral crochet coaster.
Yeah, this one's a classic.
The blog post describes it as fun and vibrant with colorful rings.
That's a great description. And it's a really cool way to use up small scraps of yarn.
I was just going to say, so visually appealing. Okay, tell me about the pattern.
So this one starts a little differently. You make a chain 2 and then single crochet into that chain.
Okay.
And then the key is to work in a continuous spiral.
What does that mean?
It means you don't join each round with a slip stitch. You just keep going around and around.
Oh, interesting. And you're using 2 colors for this one, right?
Yep. And you alternate the colors every stitch.
So cool.
And the other important thing is to increase evenly.
Because otherwise it'll get all wonky, right?
Yeah, exactly. You want to make sure the coaster stays flat.
Right. So how do you increase evenly in a spiral?
You basically place 2 stitches in the same stitch at regular intervals.
Makes sense. And then how do you finish it off?
Usually with a final round using both colors to create a nice edge.
So creative.
It is, and you can get some really unique results with this technique.
Wow. 10 coaster patterns. That was amazing. I'm so inspired.
Me too. And
Yeah.
it's incredible how much variety you can get with just a simple coaster.
Right. Just by changing up the stitches, the shapes, the colors.
It's proof that you don't need a huge, complicated project to have fun with crochet.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone out there is feeling inspired to try out one or more of these patterns.
Yes. Grab your yarn and hook and get creative.
They're perfect for sprucing up your coffee table, protecting your surfaces.
And they make great handmade gifts too.
Oh, definitely.
And just a reminder, you can find all the materials and detailed instructions over on the Paperflow Designs blog.
That's paperflowdesigns.com.
Right. And we've also included a link to a list of supplies in the podcast notes.
Perfect. Oh, before we forget,
Yes. Don't forget to sign up for the Crafting Made Simple newsletter.
we share all sorts of project ideas and inspiration over there.
And you can find the link to sign up in the description below. It's https://birdsend.pageforms981bozlrefc.
Awesome. We love having new people join our crafting community.
It's so much fun to connect with other makers. And at the end of the day, crafting is all about finding joy in those simple projects.
Absolutely. It's about learning new skills and expressing your creativity.
And bringing a little bit of handmade beauty into your everyday life.
Well said. Happy crafting, everyone. And we'll catch you next time on Crafting Made Simple.